I'm Sarah Woodbury, and this is a video about Bardd, the fifth book in the Welsh Guard Mysteries. So the Welsh Guard Mysteries are set after the Welsh conquest, starting in 1284. And the premise is that we have these two main characters, Rhys and Catrin, who are Welsh, who find themselves in a situation where they are serving the King of England when they grew up serving the Llywelyn ap Griffith, the last Prince of Wales. And for them, very much the conquest is the end of the world. I say that lightly, but like their way of life is over, and how do they keep living? And they get together with a mystery, with a murder, as one does, because that's the series. They're medieval mysteries. So there are now 5 books in the series, with the publication of Bardd in September. The first is Crouchback, which is set in Carnarvon in April of 1284, and then Chevalier, which is in the summer, and then Paladin, and the fourth is Herald, and now we're into September of 1284. So in 1284, King Edward took it upon himself to essentially take a tour of Wales, of this newly conquered territory. And in so doing, he built what is known as the Ironing of Castles, so he starts visiting his castles. And in addition, he was trying to essentially insert himself into the lineage of the Welsh kings to justify his conquest. And basically, he's going to Wales to celebrate his new rulership over them. So he starts in Carnarvon at his half-finished castle, Carnarvon Castle, where in the book Crouchback, he hauls his 8-month pregnant wife to the castle in order for his son, who becomes known as Edward II, to be born there. And there's a bunch of legends about why that was, but it is certainly because Llywelyn had been known, the last ruler of Wales, as the Prince of Wales, and he wanted his son to get that title, to be given that title. And by being born in Wales, there's some idea that he's now, Welsh. And then we move on. Edward was very concerned about the legitimacy of this conquest. And one of the ways he legitimized it was to insert himself into the lineage of King Arthur, which is a great Welsh hero. In 1277, he reburied the bones of supposedly of Arthur and Guinevere at Glastonbury. In Carnarvon was a seat of Max Nuledig, who was Arthur's grandfather, and so that's one of the reasons he made it his seat. He discovered again the bones of Max Nuledig and reburied them in a local church. He then went to Llyn Cwmdwlyn, which is a lake southeast of Carnarvon, where Excalibur, or Caludfwlch, as known among the Welsh, was said to be found in the Lady of the Lake. So then he goes to Nevin, and this is the setting for Chevalier, which is the second book in the series, where he holds a tournament in the spirit of King Arthur, and he gets all his lords and barons and whatever from England to come all the way to Nevin on the Llyn Peninsula to have this tournament. And he gives them the names and the titles of King Arthur's knights, and he styles himself as King Arthur. So that's Chevalier. And then shortly after that event is the mystery that I cover in Paladin, where Alfonso, King Edward's eldest son at the time, dies. And he sends our hero and heroine, Rhys and Catrin, to Windsor to discover what happened. Then after the events in Paladin, Rhys and Catrin travel to Vale Royal Abbey, which was effectively for Edward the equivalent of Carnarvon in Wales. It was his religious seat in England, actually. And the building of it, and there's another mystery there. And Edward is there in part because he melts down the seal, Llywelyn seal, actually it's a combination of Llywelyn, his wife Eleanor, and his brother Dafydd, their seals by which they stamped letters, and turns it into a silver chalice, which he then presents to the monks at Vale Royal Abbey. So those are the first 4 books in the series. And then we come to Bardd, which is the most recent one, which comes out September 19th. And in that instance, King Edward takes a fortnight out of all of this traveling about Wales to call all the bards of Wales to him, 1,000, as has been reported, to Overton-on-Dee, which is a village on the Dee River between the border of Wales and England. And he holds a great Eisteddfod, what the Welsh call an Eisteddfod, a musical festival of those 1,000 bards. I avoided, in some ways, the real history after the conquest for a long time because I have another series, the After Cymru series, where I change history and Llywelyn lives. And so then I didn't have to address all the issues that are involved in Edward actually conquering Wales. But I have found, as I've written this series, how exciting and interesting it is to me to delve into some of these questions and issues that come along with the conquest of Wales by England. And one of the things about this Eisteddfod, this musical festival that Edward called, was that, that it happened at all. So you have 1,000 bards gathering on the borders between England and Wales. Why did Edward do this? What was his agenda? As we discover in the book, I mean, it's pretty clear that for the same reason that he might have called all these archers to Nevin to participate in this tournament, who were Welsh, he calls bards to Overton-on-Dee because he wanted to count them. He wanted to know who they were. He wanted to control them. And he also is very specifically sending them the message that Wales is conquered and that their job, for the bards, which up until now had been as the repositories of Welsh history and culture, all of that's gone. That's no longer their job. Maybe they kind of don't even have a job anymore. And he's brought them all here basically to tell them that. And we have a murder. Well, go along with it, obviously, the part of the story that I have made up set in this time. We went to Overton-on-Dee twice, actually. The first time was a couple of years ago, and to visit the yew trees, actually, in the churchyard, the Church of St. Mary's, which is in the village of Overton-on-Dee. So that was the initial thought, is to visit, just to see the yew trees. And then we went back because I had since discovered that Edward had gone to Overton-on-Dee for this festival, and we tromped all over the place trying to get a sense of the landscape where the tournament would have been held, where the contest would have been held, and to try to understand what exactly was happening in this place. So a lot of what I have written into the book is what the landscape looks like, may have looked like in the past, and what it does look like today. All of my books are meant to be fun. Some have more serious overtones than others, and I think that the conquest can't help but be that. But at the same time, Rhys and Catherine are great characters. I love the part of these books where the people aren't good or bad. It's not like the English are bad or the Normans are bad and the Welsh are all good. That's not how my world works. That's not how the world works, I think. And I really enjoy having characters and developing these stories where there's nuance and where people feel very real to me. And I feel like with this series that I have done a really good job about telling a story that is both medieval, but also something that I think we all can relate to, even 750 years later. Thank you for watching this video. If you are interested in Bardd or any of my books, the links to my website and to the books themselves are in the description below.